My name is Sddhant Pathak. Today we are discussing about the case of Durga Prasad versus Baldev, 1881. This case was decided by Honorable Justice Oldfield in High Court of Allahabad. This case is all about consideration. It presents a significant exploration into the norms of contract under the Indian Contract Act 1872, especially focusing on legal interpretation of consideration as stimulated in Section 2D of this Act. This case provides a valuable insights into the enforcement of informal agreements and the legal requirements for a contract to be deemed valid and enforceable. As stated under Section 2D of Indian Contract Act 1872, consideration is one of the essential elements of a valid contract, and without consideration, no agreement shall attain the validity of a legal obligation between the parties to be said contract. Consideration is something that either of the parties and could be something in return to compensate the performance of other party, or could be a promise to do or abstain from doing something. Any agreement without a legal accepted consideration shall be termed as void agreement, as per the provision of Indian Contract Act 1872.
Oh wait, Mr. Durga Prasad. I have heard your name a lot. You are a very good contractor, right? See, I have a big job for you if you could do that for me. I need you to expand the market. I need you to build a market because the customers are growing at a very
Yes, sir, sure. I would love to work with you. But then, would you tell me where should the market be?
I actually want you to build the market at the Etava side because the customers there are extremely prosperous.
Consider the work is done.
Alright, thank you very much.
Hey, hello, Baldev. How's the work going on?
It's great, sir. Shop is doing very well, and it's a very excellent job you have done making these shops.
Okay, come, let's take a seat and talk. Actually, I have spent a lot of money in this. Actually, more than the budget which I have invested.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Hello, sir. So the market is ready for your inspection. It would be a honor if you would join with us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So both the markets are ready for you, and here is one market, which is Ramgunj.
Great work, Mr. Durga Prasad. It was a pleasure collaborating with you. And I would assume that now you allocate all the shops to the shopkeepers and get the business rolling.
Absolutely, sir. I'll ensure the transaction happens smoothly and efficiently.
Okay. This expansion of the markets would be really benefiting to the buyers as the goods will become more accessible to the entire community. Well done, Mr. Durga. Very well done.
I want you and the others to pay 8 annas as commission so that I can get back the monies which I have invested.
So, 8 anna is too much for us. It will affect our profit as well. Can we reduce it to some amount?
Okay, I'll think of it. Okay, fine, we'll fix it as 6 as you guys are asking for it. But you have to pay 6 annas every month.
Okay, sir. We'll pay you. Hello, sir.
Oh, hello, Baldev.
Here is the commission, first commission, as I and other shopkeepers promised to pay you.
Okay, well then. But I wanted to be regular as you promised.
Sure, sir. We'll be regular, as promised.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Sddhant.
Hello Durga, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Come on, sit. What's the matter?
Collector asked me to expand the market in Etava, and I have built 2 markets in it. And I have given it to lease. But I have asked the 2 shopkeepers to give me a commission of 6 annas. Can you make me a legal agreement?
Okay, sure, why not?
Okay. Thank you. When will I get the agreement?
Well, as soon as I finish my work, I'll start making an agreement and I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Hello Durga.
Hello, sir.
I've made the agreement as you said, but you have to go to the municipal corporation and get registered with it.
Yeah, okay, I'll get it done.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Baldev, please come here. I want to talk to you.
What happened?
I want you to sign a legal agreement that you're paying me a commission of 6 annas.
No, I will not sign any agreement, any legal agreement with you. As if I sign any legal agreement, then I will be bound to pay you every time.
Why you won't pay? You have promised me to pay.
I was paying you till now, but I will not pay you anymore, and you can't force me to do so.
I'll take take legal action against you.
Okay, then see you in court.
As the esteemed judge enters this court, we stand in acknowledgement of solemnity and authority vested in this room. Today, we convey to intangible the precise of a contractual dispute between two parties, Mr. Durga Prasad and Mr. Baldev. Your Honor, the foundation of this case rests upon the pillar of justice, fairness, and adherence to the principle enshrined within the Indian Contract Act 1872.
Granted. This court is now in session. The case of Mr. Durga Prasad versus Mr. Baldev shall resume. Counsel, please proceed in your arguments.
Your Honor, may it please to the court, I am Sddhant on behalf of my client Durga Prasad. I stand before you assert the validity of enforceability of contractual agreement that lies in the heart of this dispute. The essence of our agreement lies in the scarcity of agreements forged through mutual consent and the fulfillment of obligations undertaken in good faith.
Your arguments?
Sure, my honor. Mr. Durga Prasad built the market on request of collector, you of the collector, and later Mr. Durga Prasad asked for commission from the shopkeepers. Then thus he had fuck.
3.
Mr. Vatsal, please proceed with your argument.
Sure, my honor. Mr. Durga Prasad built the market on request of the collector, and later Mr. Durga Prasad asked for commissions from the shopkeepers because he had invested his own money into the project. And thus he asked for commission and later tried to get into an agreement with my client. But this agreement lacks a vital element, consideration. Section 2D of the Indian Contract Act 1872 clearly states that consideration is essential for a contract to be valid.
Your Honor, Mr. Durga Prasad expanded considerable resources and effort to construct the market, fulfilling the proposal put forth by the district authority of Ithapa and gaining the trust of Mr. Baldev. In return, Mr. Baldev agreed to pay a commission for shops to lease out for the market. Your Honor, I disagree. The construction of the market by Mr. Durga Prasad was done at the desire of Mr. Baldev, which constitutes valid consideration.
Counsel, please elaborate on this point.
Your Honor, Mr. Durga Prasad expanded considerable resources and effort to construct the market, fulfilling the proposal put forth by the district authority of Ithapa and gaining the trust of Mr. Baldev. In return, Mr. Baldev agreed to pay the commission for the shops leased out in the market.
Your Honor, while it is true that Mr. Durga Prasad constructed the market, there is no direct link between this construction and the commission promised by Mr. Baldev. The commission was for the leasing and the management of the shops, not for the construction itself.
Section 25 of the Indian Contract Act 1872 declares contract without consideration as a what? Counsel, can you address this?
Certainly, Your Honor. The commission agreement was formalized by mutual consent and an agreement was executed to that effect. Furthermore, Mr. Durga Prasad took the necessary steps to register the agreements with the Municipal Corporation of Ithava to ensure the legal validity of that agreement.
Your Honor, the registration of the agreement does not alter the fundamental issue at hand, the absence of consideration. Mr. Baldev never consented to the agreement being registered, indicating a lack of intention to be bound by his term and overall lacking the consideration of the agreement.
Counsel, present your final arguments.
Your Honor, the plaintiff fulfilled his part of the agreement by constructing the market at the desire by the defendant. The commission agreement was established with the mutual consent and formalized through registration. Therefore, the agreement constitutes a valid contract and Mr. Durga Prasad is entitled to get the commission.
Your Honor, the absence of a direct correlation between the construction of the market and the commission renders the agreement void of a lack of consideration. Mr. Baldev never intended to be bound by the terms of the agreement, as evidenced by his refusal to the consent of the registration of the agreement. Therefore, the plaintiff's claim should be dismissed.
Counsel, before we adjourn, I will allow one brief rebuttal round from each of you. Please present any final arguments in the light of court's decision.
Your Honor, while I respect the court's decision, I must reiterate the construction of the market was undertaken at the specific request of Mr. Baldev. This action was direct response to the desire, and it is not unreasonable to expect that he understood the implicit agreement between himself and Mr. Durgavasa. Furthermore, the commission agreement was entered into with mutual consent, and Mr. Baldev did not consent its terms and dispute errors. Therefore, the urge to the court reconsider the connection between the construction and the commission, as well as the validity of agreement in the light of the circumstances.
Your Honor, I appreciate my learned colleague's points, but I maintain that the lack of direct correlation between the construction and the commission renders the agreement void for the lack of consideration. While Mr. Baldev may have desired the construction of the market, there is no evidence to suggest that he agreed to pay a commission for the construction of market specifically. The commission was for the leasing and the management of the shops, and without clear consideration for that aspect for the agreement, it cannot be deemed valid. Additionally, Mr. Baldev's refusal to the consent of the registration of the agreement further underscores his lack of intention to be bound by these terms. Therefore, I respectfully submit that the court's decision should stand.
Thank you, counsel. I will now consider the arguments presented and deliver my judgment shortly. The court is adjourned till lunch. After carefully examining the arguments and evidence presented, it is determined that agreement lacked valid consideration as the action undertaken by the plaintiff as establishing the market were not done at the desire or legal compulsion of the defendant. Consequently, the agreement failed to meet the requirement of Section 2D of the Indian Contract Act, which defines consideration, returning its valid as a contract. Furthermore, the court found that agreements did not fall within the exception specified in Section 25 of the Indian Contract Act, which deals with the agreements without consideration. Since the agreement lacked consideration, it was deemed void under Section 25 unless it's not specific exception, which it did not. Given these findings, the court had no option but to dismiss the plaintiff claims and reject the appeal. The agreement in question failed to meet the fundamental requirements for a valid contract under the Indian Contract Act, therefore could not uphold the court. Is there anything further from either party before we conclude?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Very well. This court judgment is final. The court is adjourned. So this was the conclusion of the case Durga Prasad versus Baldev. The arrangement was rejected as a contract because there was no significant and well-known consideration involved in this case, and it is not possible to enter into a contract without any valid consideration, as valid consideration is one of the important part of the Indian Contract Act.